Who is next to win a world title? Let's look at Raw. Let's look at SmackDown for the roster. Who's gonna get the championship next? Who's kind of in line, we think, to get a world title? Let's first talk about CM Punk going up against Drew McIntyre. Their feud is continued on. I do believe that this is going to keep going till at least Bad Blood, where they would possibly have a blow-off match going in like Hell in a Cell or a steel cage. But after that, does CM Punk set his sights on anything else? Does Drew McIntyre go for the world title? Do they challenge Gunther? It's an interesting situation with Punk and Drew, because I don't feel like either of them are really going after the world title anytime soon. Nor do I think in the immediate future that Gunther is dropping that title. See, they could do like at WrestleMania, they could do a fatal 4-way match. If I'm fantasy booking down the road, you could do Seth, Punk, Drew, Gunther, where Punk maybe picks up the world title at WrestleMania in a fatal 4-way match. That way, and not pinning Gunther, that protects him. But the way everything is laid out right now, I just don't see CM Punk in the title scene this year. I think he's gonna have his hands full with Drew. I think he's still gonna be fighting it or eventually having the feud with Seth, and that could be the WrestleMania feud for Punk. But what about Drew McIntyre? If things end with CM Punk, let's say at Bad Blood, we've got Survivor Series, you got some Saudi shows in there, Rumble, Mania, there is a lot still to go on before WrestleMania. And you gotta think, for Drew's character, he should want to get that world title back, because that's what like all of this was kind of surrounding originally, right? His hatred for Punk has morphed and everything into what it is today, but he got screwed out of the title at last year's WrestleMania. I do want to see Drew McIntyre with the title, but I don't feel like he is next in line to get it. Could he topple Gunther? Possibly, but I don't see it for the world title with Drew. What do you think? Then you have Seth Rollins. Seth is off TV because he was taken out by Bronson Reed, which I think was an excellent move because it's going to keep building Bronson probably for the next several months if they do things correctly. They're building it up like Braun Strowman was originally when he's going through that feud with Roman Reigns years ago, and they just kept destroying everything on Raw. Feels like they're doing the same thing with Reed, and I think it will really work. It's getting over. People like to see him do the tsunami. It's gonna work, I think. So with Seth being taken out, he's gotta come back. He's gotta come back and probably fight Bronson Reed, and that could be a 1-month program, a one-off thing. And then I feel like Seth is going back to figure out things with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I think the three of them are all gonna be intertwined for the rest of the year, and they could do variations of the matchups they've had. We haven't had a triple threat with these guys. Like, there is a lot they could do. The one-on-one with Punk is still looming. We've seen Drew and Seth go at it, but you could do that match again. And I don't see Seth getting the world title. We've been there, done that. I don't really personally want to see Seth with the world title again for at least a while, like another year. So right now, I can't say that Seth's gonna win the title next. Like, who's gonna take it off Gunther is basically the question. When you look at the roster on Raw and we're talking about world title, could it be Ilya, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn? Could Damian Priest get his title back? For all of those names, I don't see any of them taking it off Gunther, but I don't want, personally as a fan, I just don't want Gunther to have like the 1,000-day reign. I don't need to see it. I like the title to be switched up a little bit more. If I gotta pick anybody though, as we're going through this, I think the person to get the title off Gunther, Drew McIntyre. He's big enough, it's more believable, and from Drew getting it almost as like a transitional champion, not for like a day or a month, but if Drew only has it for a short period, the title could then be bounced around Gunther and Seth and Punk and even Damian Priest. I worry that with the world title though, that we are gonna get to a point where Gunther is just beating challenger after challenger. And I think possibly, maybe it's Survivor Series, maybe it's the Rumble or WrestleMania, maybe it is a multi-man match where Gunther loses the belt. But let's look at the WWE Undisputed Championship for a second. You got Cody Rhodes. Cody ain't losing that belt anytime soon, and I'm not too sure how I feel about it because I do feel kind of like somebody ought to take that belt off of him. Now, I didn't mention Randy Orton for the world title because technically he's not drafted to Raw. He's doing the one-off with Gunther. Love the story that had been told going through Bash in Berlin. If it were me, I would probably say that Randy is the next one to take it off of Cody. There are a couple of options when it comes to Cody's title. I think that he is going to hold on to the belt for a while. I think some fans want that. I think some fans also want him to lose the belt soon. But let's look at some of the names that are on SmackDown that right now have a potential to take that title off of him. Let's talk about Solo Sikoa. Solo has said repeatedly that he is coming after that title once again. no matter who's champion. Solo to me is not built up enough to get that title. I don't think that would happen. I think he will continuously get screwed out of the title opportunities, and it will be due to Roman Reigns' interference. I don't think we're gonna get Solo with that title at all. I think the bloodline with the tag team titles is a good move, but yeah, Solo is not winning that main belt. He's not the guy. And based off the story and the character of Solo Sikoa, he's like the fake tribal chief. He is self-appointed tribal chief. And I think we're really just waiting for Final Boss to show up. So what about Roman Reigns? Does Roman get that title back by like WrestleMania? I don't think so. I think Roman is at a point like he is beyond title. I don't need to see Roman with the belt. And certainly right now, as everything is, it doesn't make any sense for Roman to take the belt off of Cody. I think that kind of kills all of Cody's momentum and everything they've tried to build with the finishing of the story at WrestleMania, all of that. I think Roman goes on like another year without really sniffing the title belt. But they could circle back, and that could be with a Cody heel turn and a Roman face, and they do that in a future WrestleMania, you never know. Roman Reigns, I don't think is next in line for the undisputed title. So we mentioned Randy Orton. Randy, I feel, has the best shot to get a program with Cody and feel like he could legitimately win that belt. I think a lot of fans are looking for that. They're looking for that Randy Cody story with a heel Randy Orton. Cody needs more adversity in my eyes. He needs more legitimate challengers. And since WrestleMania, for me, I have not felt like anybody is in a position where they feel like they're really going to challenge Cody in a way where the belt feels like it's threatened and like, oh, WWE is going to go in this direction with his character. Haven't felt that. Randy gives me the most hope because it's a very interesting story with their history of legacy, their friendship. Randy always eyeballing the title when he's been on SmackDown with Cody. I mean, a WrestleMania 41 match of Cody versus Randy Orton, who's all really healed up. Maybe Randy wins the Royal Rumble and it forces that match to happen. Maybe it's a slow turn. Remember, Triple H likes his long-term booking, the sagas, all of that. If you can insert Randy Orton and slowly turn him heel and go after that title against Cody by winning the Royal Rumble, could set up a pretty interesting story. To me, Randy has like one of the best shots because SmackDown just doesn't, the way it, like they need a draft. They really need a draft here to mix things up because there ain't nobody on SmackDown touching Cody's title. What about AJ Styles? Been off TV, still hasn't come back. I thought he would come back on SmackDown to do the open challenge with LA Knight. Nah. AJ, I would love to see going after the world title or going after the Undisputed Championship again, but I don't think they're gonna do that with AJ. AJ as a world champion on Raw would be pretty cool, and he could have a lot of cool matches too. If somehow Gunther loses that belt and it winds up on AJ at any point, let's say next year, AJ versus CM Punk and Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Gunther, there is a lot that AJ Styles could do as a heel, but I still don't feel like it's gonna be AJ anytime soon for either belt. The other name we have on the list, everybody, is going to be The Rock, Final Boss. And between Randy Orton and The Rock, I think those two have the best shot of becoming the next WWE champion. I'm trying to think of how WWE, how Triple H, everybody is booking these stories when it comes to Cody and Bloodline, and it's never ending. And it really feels like The Rock is going to come back at some point. Maybe it's Survivor Series, maybe it's the Rumble. If Randy, for example, stays on Monday Night Raw, maybe he eventually does win the world title, because Randy with the world title would be kind of badass. The Rock and Cody at WrestleMania 41 for the belt, that could be the match. Rock, in the terms of the storyline, kind of has the best shot of taking that title off of Cody. Cody has lost to The Rock night one of WrestleMania 40. The Rock will be just super powered when he has any type of match. So they will book him to be extremely powerful. And you got to figure, if the storyline goes that way, The Rock is Final Boss and is like the true head of everything going on with the new bloodline, and he's like above Solo. So if that is all happening, they could be telling this even longer story where, for example, it could be Roman versus Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania 41, or getting the final one-on-one match against Solo at WrestleMania for Roman Reigns. Don't feel like that's quite big enough, but then when it comes to Cody, if they're doing that stuff with Roman, then you could have Cody versus Rock, WrestleMania night 2 of WrestleMania 41, and Rock beats Cody Rhodes. For a lot of fans, I think that ends up being very possible and realistic. You drop the belt to The Rock, he shows up again at maybe SummerSlam, and you're then going through and having the feud of Rock and Roman for WrestleMania 42. Or I could also see them getting the title off of Cody sooner. Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, more likely to me the Royal Rumble, where you drop the title to The Rock and then you end up having Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 41. I don't know what you do with Cody Rhodes. It's very complicated, but it doesn't feel like there are really clear contenders, clear possible winners for either belt. And that's okay. That is actually a good thing because it keeps the mystery alive. The world title scene, I feel like, has more options, and there are more believable people that could take the title off of Gunther and be next in line. On the WWE Championship side with Cody, it feels like it's slim pickings. And to me, it's Randy or The Rock. But what do you think? Who's next in line? And how do you think Triple H's booking has been going so far with WWE? Is it in line with what you think? Because some fans are split on it. And if you want to talk about that topic more, we have this video right here. Click on that, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. See ya.